Good evening, everyone. Myself Varun Prashant, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to the today's webinar. Thank you for your time to join us. We are Consulting and Beyond, a firm dedicated to drive business and financial solutions. With over 25 years of experience, 85 team members, and 90% client retention, we are guiding our clients in profit maximization, valuation and fundraising, process reengineering, inventory optimization, ERP advisory, and many, many more. Over these years, we have had the privilege of working with a diverse set of clients, helping them streamline operations, embrace transformation, and create a long-term value. Now, I'm thrilled to showcase the 4 dynamic departments of our organization: management consulting, audit and assurance, tax advisory, and the last will be corporate finance. Today's webinar is proudly brought to you by the management consulting team. Okay, so let's move on to introducing the leadership behind our strength. We are guided by our visionary leaders, Mr. C.A. Umesh Gulecha, Mrs. Ratandeep Umesh, and Mr. Ananda Prakash. And now, for today's session, the speakers are Mr. Kevin, Mr. Dinesh Kumar, and Mr. Kaushik. Proceeding to our topic for today, smart inward planning for better inventory management. Wow, such an interesting topic for today. So over the next 1 hour, we will walk you through some strategies, practical approaches, and key takeaways that can transform your inventory control. And don't worry, we'll be addressing all your questions and queries along the way, so feel free to ask your doubts at the end. Now, moving to the agenda, which we have styled with a war theme. Firstly, the battle scars, the key challenges faced, followed by the armory, purchase methodologies. The next is the war room, how to plan a purchase. The next will be the golden chariot, CNB's purchase tool, followed by the battlefield, fieldwork purchase. And the last will be reinforcement checks, in other words, stock inwards. So now, let the war of smart inward planning begin. Cool. So to start with the battle scars, in our case, the key challenges faced. So each of our inventory managers will be facing the following challenges and have various methodologies in mind, which will be not even equivalent to each and every inventory manager. The first thing is accumulation of dead stock. So here dead stock refers to items that no longer sell or have become obsolete. Imagine having lakhs of worth of stock sitting idle, neither helping sales nor cash flow. The next one is significant investment without proper result. This leads to a negative return on investment and affects the working capital cycle. It's not just about how much we invest, but how smartly we invest. The next one will be loss of alignment with recent trends. Oh, this is a viral trend nowadays. This results in lower customer engagement and sales tips. If we don't move with the market, we move out of the market. The next will be stockpiling of items within a particular price range. This limits flexibility in sales strategies, which might be a bottleneck for our operations, which will cut off our bottom line. The next one will be difficulty in deciding which supplier to prioritize. To keep this in mind, we will be having many strategies regarding this in the upcoming 1 hour. So to be precise, without performance-based metrics, our supplier decision become subjective. Supplier relationships need to be data backend and not guess-based. This is the key motto of our webinar. The next will be followed by margin loss when attempting to dilute stock. So many inventory managers will be attempting to reduce their stock by without even their past trends or their future demand. So they will be focusing on their own to do this. So when stock becomes a liability, margin pays the price. The next one will be lack of data and data analysis tools or software. In today's world, you all know data isn't just useful, it's the survival. So to conclude my slide, these battle scars aren't just operational challenges. They are signs that we need better planning, sharper analysis, and smarter tools. Oh, this will be a very much starting point of our better inventory management. By recognizing them, we take the first step towards healing growth. Over to Mr. Kaushik.
Before going any further, let us all uh, before going any further, let us look at a poll. Do you currently forecast sales before planning your purchases? Be, do you currently forecast sales before planning your purchases? Thank you for your responses, guys. Now that we have seen our past battle scars, let's look at what us at Consulting and Beyond have at our arsenal to help you win these battles. While planning our purchaser, we should not go blindly like in a war. We should not go blindly. Like in a war, we should know exactly what our strategies are. Let's look at some of them. The first is regular purchases. This is the purchase that we make for non-season sale based on the past data. The simple, straightforward strategy which we use where we use past data to make the purchases. The next one is seasonal purchases. This is a method that we specifically use to tackle the huge sales volume that happens during the festive season. What this method basically does is use the data during the past seasons and predict that what we should purchase for this time. So after that, so to do all this, we need to forecast the demand first. The basic step involved in any purchase plan is demand forecasting. There are various methods that we can use to forecast demand. Some of them are moving averages, weighted average, and even using AI and machine learning technologies for high prediction accuracy. Some of in the further slides, some of them will be explained by my colleagues. Once we know what our demand looks like, we can easily plan our purchase accordingly. The next method which we are going to see is reorder level. Reorder level is a strategy that ensures that we place our orders at level to make sure that we restock the goods before we run out of them. Let's look at reorder level in detail. What exactly is this reorder level? Reorder level, as I already said, is the stock level at which you should reorder so that you do not go out of stock. While doing this, we consider the maximum demand for a particular product as well as the lead time the supplier takes to deliver the products. Let's look at its formula. Reorder level equals maximum usage per period and maximum lead time plus safety stock. So what is maximum usage per period? Maximum usage per period is the demand that we calculate using our forecasting techniques, and lead time refers to the maximum time the supplier takes to deliver a particular product. Safety stock is the buffer amount which we keep for any deviations. Before going any further, let's look at an example. Muthu reorders Ramraj shirts when stock drops to 40. Here, 40 is the reorder level. So basically what he does is average daily sales for him is 8. and he has a 4-day lead time. So it means the supplier takes 4 days to deliver the product. So and he has a buffer stock of 8 pieces. So reorder level is 40 dresses. That is 8 into 4 plus another 8 for safety stock. So now that we know what reorder level and its formula is, let's look at some of the important reasons why we need reorder level. So reorder level ensures that the stock codes are mitigated. So what does that mean is, so basically as we ordered before, when we have some level of stock, it ensures that stock never runs out. And because we consider lead time in calculating this, our supply chain risk are also mitigated. It has enough buffer time so that the supplier can deliver the products. Since our store will always be stocked with enough stock and all the varieties, the customer's experience is overall elevated. So for this, our team at Consulting and Beyond has developed a strategy called the Reorder Level Tracker. Reorder Level Tracker is a specialized tool designed to monitor and manage reorder levels across your product inventory, enabling proactive replenishment assistance. This assists you in real-time monitoring of stocks, data-driven insights, and customizable parameters according to your needs. As you can see in the slide, here is a few examples of certain products and their daily demand, the current stock, and the display stock. So from this, the lead time is calculated. The lead time is taken based on past data, and we have kept a buffer stock. So based on this, the reorder level is calculated. So here the ROQ stands for the reorder quantity. That is, when the product has reached the reorder level, you should order this much for so that it does not get again stocked out. So like this, our tracker helps you order stocks on time. The next is that when reorder level is not enough. So basically, as we are in the fashion retail industry, there are certain complexities involved in our purchases. Reorder level might work best for standard and repetitive products, but fashion retail involves thousands of non-repeating SKUs, high demand unpredictability, and constant trend shifts. ROL can't manage assortment planning or relevance. So for this, we need a special framework to handle variety, timing, and customer match. That is where our team at CNB has developed a very specific strategy tailor-made for this, which will be explained by my team in the war room session.
Thank you, Kaushik. I hope I'm audible and my audio is clear. So let's start. Can you change the slide? Yeah. So now we are in the war room, which means the battle has begun. So now we must choose a strategy which we are going to stick to win the war. What is the objective of this war? Obviously, the end result should be in our favor, right? So let's work on a plan where we can ensure that the end result stays in our zone. Okay. In this concept, in the war zone, what are the key aspects which are going to be discussed to prior to a purchase is going to be the agenda of the next session. Okay, next slide. Uh, so now we are in the war room. I'm going to term every term in a military perspective to make sure the seriousness of this concept. So first, observing the ground reality. What is the ground reality? What does this term mean? I have termed this word as a briefing room. Generally, during a war, before a war begins or before any operation is done, a briefing is made within the room with all the key participants of the war. So similarly, before going to a purchase, we should be briefed about about the health of the shop. When I meant health, it means the status of the market. It may indicate the upward trends of the market or the downward trend of the sales or the customer preference. The briefing room ensures that the products which have been preferred much in high ratios by the customers are being procured for a continuous period so that the customer is satisfied from their purchase. So in the briefing room, the management has to have a discussion with the sales team and the CRM team to gain the pulse of the customer. Since the CRM and sales team are the ground staffs in our scenario, they have the tendency to capture the impulse of the customers, and they have the pulse of the customers. So we must ensure that the pulse of the customer is being read by the team before going to a purchase. So before starting into further topics, I want to reinstate a certain poll which we have raised in the previous slides. We have asked regarding when we are going to plan our purchases. Is the most common idea that most of us have. From our side, we state that our purchase plan starts with the previous purchase. So before going into a purchase, you should plan yourself that the current purchase doesn't have any impact, doesn't have any negative impact on the future purchases which we are going to make in the future. So this purchase should be laying within the safety limits, and we must ensure that it doesn't have any impact on the future purchase, so we can have a valid decisions in the future days. So next, moving further, we all know we have to make a plan. The plan is obviously the data. The data is the key core factor which we are going to talk in different languages in the upcoming slides. Because if we have the data, then we can move towards the can you shift to the previous slide? If we have data, then we can shift, make a plan. We can have a validated plan. We can make a practical forecast to challenge the markets which are going to fluctuate, obviously, which are going to fluctuate in the upcoming days. But we can be we can be well prepared in a manner to mitigate the risks. So data is a very critical part. So we should ensure that while making an entry or any possible ways, we capture all the data necessary for making for future decisions, and all the data necessary to make a correct practical data-driven approach. So speaking of data entry time, this will be covered in the later aspects of the slide, where we ensure that all the data are being captured, and many other deliverables will be discussed related to this matter. So next we are moving. First, we have discussed that we should have a briefing with our team to know the pulse and know the status of the purchase. And once the tune is set, then we can play the tune with the data. With the data, we can play whether the tune is going to be a feasible one, or whether there is a risk factor in overstocking, or all criteria can be considered with the help of data. And then we can, with the help of data, we can find a sales button. I have pictured example here. We can see an product, and it has various ranges within our store, and we can see that the product of the range of 500 to 1000 performs much higher than the other ranges. So when going to a purchase, our purchase should be tuned to favor this range than the other ranges. Instead of investing in the ranges which are slowly performing, we can practically invest in the ranges which are usually highly performing, and the risk is very low in this case. And we can either use some promotional strategies, or we can invest in some factors to promote the sale. We can make a customer buying in this range to populate into this range. We can boost the sales like that. We can work on. But for purchase, we should stick with the basic decisions, which is we should go with the range which are highly performing. So we should know the sales pattern which we are going to need for to prevent any overstocking, or to have a successful sales season. So next, current stock. Now we have discussed on the pattern. Now we have discussed upon the approach to the sales. Then we have the data to validate our approach. Then through data, we have a sales pattern which we are going to plan for the purchase. Now we should ensure that the current levels doesn't have any impact over the sales, over the purchase which we are going to make. So current stock, I have given this term as rationing. In military, rationing means if there is any supplies which we have, we should ration it in a daily basis. The system is followed in the military schemes. So similarly, we should ration our current stock. We should obviously take audits to make sure that there is no deviation between the actual and the data stock, and the current stock levels are healthy for making purchases. there are certain cases where the current stock is overdumping the purchase. In certain cases, we even saw that the current stock will be more than the expected purchase, and even there will be a 10% growth in that. So in that cases, it is advised to quit that purchase. Certain battles can be lost, but the wars can be won. So we can avoid particular seasons. So we can concentrate more on the varieties which we are going to bring in the future. Certain compromises need to be made. For that, we should ensure that the current stock levels are maintained in the safety levels so that we can accompany the incoming purchase levels to boost our sales. So next slide. So once our discussion is done and the data is ready, and with the data we can know a pattern which we predict is going to happen. For that, we should have a more accuracy, right? What numbers are going to come? So numbers play a major role in this module. So for my numbers, we usually tend towards forecasts, right? So we can't actually predict the market. It can be fluctuating. A simple change can totally dominate the market, or simple change can totally crash a market. It's all feasible in this scenario. But to ensure that we are prepared for the scenario, we can make a forecast based on the data we have. We obviously have data because we've been collecting. We are all data oriented people. We have been collecting data. But what is the use of collecting the data? We have to use the data in a sufficient manner that many insights can be retrieved with that data. So in forecasting, there are many obviously many types of forecasting. We have moving average, weighted moving average, exponential smoothing, Winter's Holtz model, and most of the cases in can be countered with the moving average or weighted moving average itself. So let's take an example. I'm just having a base intro of what both these forecasting are. So in this period, I have a forecast of for the period of January 2022, January 2023, 2024, and 2025. So in this is just a sample data. So in January 2022, the sale was around 10 crores. In January 2023, the sale was around 15 crores. And in January 2024, the sale was around 20 crores. So by moving average, we can ensure that the forecast for the month of January 2025 can be just a moving average, just a simple average for all these months. It the value arrives around 15 crores for predicted for the sale in the month of January 2025. This is a case where no external factors have been polluted in your areas, or where you can trust the data, it's a stable growth, where your business is in a mature state. You can move with the moving average method because you can actually predict it will be more suitable in your scenario. But in certain cases, there can be an exponentially downgrade or an exponentially upward trend in your market. In that cases, it's better to move with a moving average method, where a moving average method gives weightage more for the recent periods than the later ones. In these cases, for the January 2024, the sale is around 20 crores, right? So we are giving a highest weightage, 50% for this month and 30% for next previous year, which is January 2023. And for January 2022, we are giving around 20% weightage. So the calculated value comes around 16.5 crores for the year of for the month of January 2025. So these are the schemes where we predict a future, and based on our predictions, we make a purchase. So what we have discussed in this session is, first we have to have a discussion among the people to gain the pulse, because our observations point may differ from the perspective of others, which experience being observed from the customers. So we should make a safe space for them to ensure that our discussion is being gathered, and based on the information, we have a data which we have been collecting for the past years, and based on the data we have a sales pattern, and based on the sales pattern we ensure that our current stocks levels are in the safe zone, and we can make a purchase. And once that is approved, we can go with the forecasting to predict the next period sale. And for the prediction, we have a variety of options. So now we have arrived a state where we know that this in this particular Jan 2025, the sales will reach around 15 crores. So now we have arrived a value where we can know that the sales will reach this point. So now we have moved to this point, and in this point, there are a lot of options for us, because in our cases, we usually purchase from various suppliers, because various suppliers provide unique items, and that is important for our business. So we need to ensure that the purchases which we are going to make in the upcoming period is more risk mitigated one. What I mean is the stocks which I am going to bring forward, we must ensure that the stocks have a higher probability of turnover. Uh, we have to make sure that the this criteria is being maintained. For that, we have a specialized tool for this purpose. So moving further, can you change to the next slide? So moving further, there is a key for this problem, the golden chariot. This is the CNB's golden chariot. We have named it like this because it has four wheels, and our tool has also four letters, which each wheel represents. This chariot will give you now we know how much to purchase. This tool will give you an insight of where which and all the suppliers to be considered for a purchase and which cities can be considered for a purchase, and many more insights can be brought with this tool. This tool will be explained by my teammates. Now we can move forward further to this section itself.
Hello all. Hope I'm audible all. First, a big thanks to my colleagues for beautiful foundation today's session. They have shown how retail purchase decision can be if not backed by data and structure. So I will take you through the framework we developed internally VROQ, which brings everything together and helps us decide exactly how much to purchase. So, as you see in the slide, my colleague has been told the golden chariot. VROQ stands for V is the variety, and the second wheel is relevance, and the third is optimum quantity, and the last but the not least will be quality. Now, we will see everyone in separate style with deeper insights. Move on to next slide, please. First, we start with V, which stands for variety. Here, we are in saying that variety means city-wise purchase versus sales performance. Like every city, every region responds differently to product assortment. So, some products will sell in some cities, and some varieties from one city will sell to different cities. Likewise, the every city and every region responds differently to product assortments. As like in the table, if you see, you can see that Talavaipuram and Puthiyambuttur as the higher sell-through ratio, which tells that the variety from this city worked well in our place. Where if you see Indore has just 0.4, which sells this product types are not attracted by our customers. Our customer preferences majorly focused on the varieties from Dalavaipuram and Puthiyambattur, and the like different things indoor and all the product varieties may be not suitable for this region, but that will be suitable for any other region. Likewise, variety majorly focuses on city wise purchases, and as the title and the page suggests, this analysis tells us where our assortment is reasoning and where it needs improvement. That's what variety means. So variety doesn't mean giving everything everywhere. It means understanding which variety shows where and planning your assortment accordingly. Move on to next point. Next, the second will comes relevance. Are we stocking the right products at the right price points? It's very important questions, and this is one of the most misunderstood terms. It doesn't just mean the product looks good. Relevance means the product looks good. It means the customer wants what your customer wants and in what price range they want. It's majorly very important thing for our customers, for our region customers, or for our specific region of customers. And in VROQ framework, the relevance compares sales performance versus stock holding by price range. It helps to find which range is moving fastly or which range is truly working for your customers, for our customers in a specific region. So in this table, it suggests is you can see the sales quantity percentage and stock quantity percentage, and action which says whenever the negative gap is there, we are stocking too many stocks, but which is not selling. So it makes our our cost, it holds our stock cost, holding cost, everything. But if you see the positive gaps, our customers are liking the products in that range. So whenever we are looking for the purchase, we should have to know about the variety, where which city suppliers, which city products are selling more, and with that city we want to know which price range is actually working to our nature. Next, move on. Next slide. Before moving on to next slide, we will have a poll. Have you ever calculated the stock turnover ratio? Please answer the poll, which will be placed in your screen. Waiting for your answers. This is just normal question. You can answer. Yes. We shall close the poll. Now, move on to next slide. Yes, we got the answers. Everybody told yes. Okay, no issues. Now, once we know what to buy, by using variety and relevance, we came that what to buy. Next, how much we want to buy. And here we use the stock turnover ratio. Everybody has the most of the answers is yes. Stock turnover ratio tells how many times a product rotates in a period. That's the stock turnover ratio. For example, if we expect 4 lakhs in sales and your STR is 4, you need only 1 lakh in stock, which is better. So as you see in the table, first we have calculated the what is present STR, and based on that we have prepared what we want to achieve, how many rotations we want. Here we have put everything as 4. To maintain our rotation as 4, we want to have the proposed stock column. If you see, means that's the optimum quantity we want to have. So to have that, the action is to first, if you are having 203, so we want 503 stocks. And the higher the STR, more sales per unit of stock. So, and we are having, and the inventory is performing better. And the action tells like 300 want to improve and 1032. Here we have just shown how many we want to increase, but there will be a cases, little cases or rare cases that we want to reduce the stock. Most of the time, if you are not looking on the stock inventory levels and STR planning, then your stock will be overstocked. So you need to reduce. Move on to next slide. And last but not the least, it comes quality. We treat this seriously. In VROQ, quality isn't just about products, it's about entire purchase experience. So, as the table suggests, based on variety, we found which city is performing well, and based on relevance, we found which range is performing well, and based on quantity, we found which quantity is best. The supplier, which is quality. With in the one sub in one city, which supplier is performing well. So while we going for purchase, we should know whether we can purchase to this supplier or to this supplier. We will prepare like that. So the quality which says build with approved vendor. So first step, we only want to purchase from the approved vendors. And next thing will be, if for new or high value item comes, we want to do random checks. We want to do random checks regularly, but especially we should do the check when new items or high value items enters. If we are failed to check, then that will be complaints from customer. So if customer doesn't, our final uh, output should be customer satisfaction. And so to satisfy customer, we need to have the quality checks and we need to purchase from the approved vendor. So we want to try to avoid buying from non-trusted vendors, because we may not be able to inspect that products. That's the major. And quality is not an end stage check. It begins the supplier selection and it continues till the product reach to your customer. Now move on to next slide. This is our basic master VROQ template. Here, as you see, for variety, we will choose cities. This is the one template we have designed using Power BI template. And if you see, if you want whatever city you want, you can select whatever section you want, select whatever product you want. I will link this table with our framework. First, if you look on variety, it's we told that it's city performance. So first, we will have separate sheet where the city performance will be very detailed. Which city performs well, which city is very less, which city is average, which city is medium, everything we have. Based on we finalized the city I am going for purchase now, so you will select the city. Then comes the range. You found which range is performing well, so based on that you will found, we will select range which this range shows how much interval you want in range. For example, 50 range or 150,000 range or 100 range or 250 or 500 range or 2000 range. To speak, if you are purchasing for men products, you will have the interval between 250 range, 0 to 250, 250 to 500, 500 to 1000, 750, likewise. But if you going to silk saree sessions, you want the range between 2000 range, because everything will be high value customers. And based on that, if you see that proposed to purchase planner table, no, in that table you will have everything detailed. By clicking by selecting each and every filters you want, everything will come into your hands. And based on the table you will have the optimum quantity and you will have the best performing supplier. Then comes what we want to purchase. Move on to next slide. Yes, our colleague will start this. Yes, check the mute and speak. Unmute please, Kevin.
Okay. Okay. So now we know how much to purchase based on the discussions we have with the team and based on the data sets we have and the sales pattern which we have done to find out the optimum sales pattern which our customers prefer, as Dinesh mentioned. And we know the taste of the customers and the sales performance of everything we have encountered. So next, Dinesh has described in a brief manner about where to purchase. Whom should I select as a vendor? Whom should I select in this procurement manner? Whom should we prefer much further than the other people's? And comparing cities, comparing suppliers, comparing the range within the same products, and comparing the suppliers within the same city within offering the same products based on their taste and based on their sell-through ratio and all the aspects covered, we can make a timely decision of how much to purchase and where to purchase. I just want to state the fact that this should happen 2 weeks prior to the purchase. When we draw a timeline for a purchase, our briefing room discussion should happen 2 months prior to our actual purchase date. And then once briefing is done, then we can validate the data which we have. We can collect the data and prepare a data for all the tests which we are going to do. Then we can have a pattern test. Then we are going to put the data in the VROQ file. Then we have finalized how much to buy and whom should trust and buy the products. Now, this should be done minimum 2 weeks earlier to the purchase period. Then, what should I do on the field? This will be covered in this topic. So the VROQ part is done. The data is ready. The set is ready. The options are available for us. Now we should make a purchase data card. This we can't carry our laptops and go on roaming for purchases. It will be a very hectic task, and we don't prefer that. So with the VROQ file which we have developed and which we have run through, and we have the results of the data purchases which we are going to make, we should customize a data card which can be in a digital format. You can have it in your phone, or you can have it in a printout manner. If you prefer printouts rather than mobiles, we can have a printout of the data card, and we should make a file of all the products which we are going to deal within that city. For example, if we are going to Delhi for a certain products for a certain section, for example, if you are going for an ethnic section, we should have a list of all the suppliers within Delhi who are supplying us that category products, and the performance of that products which we are being procured from that vendors, and based on their performance we can have a rating system to whom should we go first. So once the data cards are finalized, we should move further in the list based on the highest quality supplier. In that case, we can frame an ABC analysis for the supplier where A grade suppliers have a high sell-through ratio. For example, I just want to state that the A grade suppliers have a sell-through ratio above 90%. The B grade suppliers may have a sell-through ratio above 70 and C is below 50 or 60. So we can first neglect the C suppliers. We can target our A suppliers because their products have a high ratio of selling in our shop, and our customers have been preferring his items more than the other category suppliers. So once we have finalized the city with VRQ, and we have to finalize the suppliers which we are going to attain, then we have to finalize the quantity with the VRQ. Once all of these are finalized, we can make a purchase data card, and we have to carry the data card on the day of our purchase to the field. To the field, we have to bring the file, and we have to list down the purchases which we make in the field. What we usually do is we prepare for the exam very well. We are pakka ready for the exam, but on the day of exam a certain question may come out of the syllabus. For that, we may stumble. For to avoid those situations, it's best to carry the data cards of the data which we have been worked on, and having a copy with us makes us ensure that we stick with our plan. It makes us ensure that we don't deviate within our plan. We tend to deviate because it's nature. We usually go for a purchase, and we may see some products a bit or a bit favored by us, which may not be favored by the customers in our shop, but it may be a favorable product for us. So we are being practiced to procure that items which may not be healthy for an organization. So we should make a data card, and we should visit the suppliers whom are categorized as an A supplier for us. So within this category itself, we are ensuring that most of our products are in a safe zone, which I mean we will have a higher probability of being preferred by the customers. So with that data card, we should for this is a sample data card which we have, which we currently use. In this data card, you should mention the location, and in the insert section for a sample data, I've just give dummy data. So in the section name and the product and the date, for example, if we are going for the next 2 months, we should mention that period so that we have in mind that the criteria stays within the time zone itself. Then we have the sales range. Then we have the data which compares the previous year's performance of that particular city, and then we have the expected growth rate which is being calculated from the point which I have discussed in the further sections, that one with the moving average and weighted average. Through that, we know the growth percentage of this month, and we have to use the particular growth percentage in the current data to have a viable forecast, which is a bit 80 to 90% accuracy. It may be fluctuating in the reality, but it's a bit safe rather than going without any data. I hope I'm conveying what the essence of this card is. Then we can have a contribution analysis which makes sure that the sales pattern is being followed in the purchase day also. And based on the stock report, we can have a optimal stock, and all the factors considered, the proposed amount will be projected here. You can see a red mark being mentioned here, which mentions that we don't move with this type of purchases. So it's an alert to the management that we don't, by any chance, any measures, we don't acquire any risky stocks. We procure only the healthy ones, which we believe based on the data will get a higher probability of being attracted towards the customers. So once the data card is done, we have to go to the field, and we are roaming around visiting all the suppliers. First, we should complete the A grade suppliers. Then we have to move to the B grade. Then, if there is a possibility of newer varieties being offered in the C grade, which you believe will have a greater impact in the market, maybe you can have a small sample purchase to test the market, and these factors can be considered. There is a bit deviations allowed, safety deviations allowed within this limit, but it is standard to stay within that limits, though, so that we ensure that the stock levels don't skyrocket and impact us in our future days. So what we usually do when the stock skyrocket, we usually put a margin, or we usually decrease the margin, or we put offers where we dilute the margin which we are getting. So in that case, the profit which we are actually projected is being lost. We are acquiring a target below our levels, and which is not advised. So to ensure that the levels stay the same, the purchase data card plays a vital role in following up that our plan is rigid and we stick to the plan. So based on the data card, we now have a purchased quantity, and once the purchase is made, then we can have further process done for the process, like a PO can be done with the once if, for example, let's take an example. I am visiting Delhi to procure particular sari items. I am procuring the products from a particular supplier. What I should do is I should have already filled the purchase data card for the product. Then we should create a PO form and mention the data which we are procuring there. The data collection process starts here. So in PO forms, while visiting the client, while visiting the supplier in place, we should make sure that we fill the POs and we make a copy and shift it to the warehouse department. So to make sure that what we have given order to the supplier is what being transferred to us. There is a probability where the supplier believes if we add a certain few quantity items in the lot, we will be accepting that. But we should stick with our plan, which is to mitigate any dead stock, and should stick with the growth pattern which we are forecasting. So the PO forms acts in the purpose to ensure that all the records are being tracked and all the records are being recorded and documented in the warehouse. When further the bundle has been delivered, before opening the bundle itself, we can have a match with the PO and the order for or the copy invoice which the bundle person delivers. We can ensure that there is no deviations. A healthy operation is that the deviation stays zero. So that way we make sure whatever our focus and whatever was our aim is being achieved. Through this, we can make sure that the process which we are working towards brings more profit stability, more healthy stock rotation periods, and all those factors can be achieved through the follow-up procedures which we are doing post the VROQ process, which is the data card. And post the data card, we should have a PO form to capture all the results which we are doing there, to make a track for the further shipment process and all the inward process. Should have a main checkpoint where the PO and the invoice quantity matches. This point will be covered by my team further. Thank you.
Yes, once again, thank you, Kevin. Now we move on to reinforcement checks, which is called stock inwards. Next slide. As up to this, we found what to buy, how to buy, where to buy, everything we found, and based on that we prepared data card, and with data card, which is the documentation, and then we prepared official confirmation for a supplier, which is PO, and based on PO, the goods has been ordered and it has been dispatched from the supplier after PO confirmation, which is called bundle transit and arrival. This is the first checkpoint of inward, but we want to be clear that in some of the places they are not looking for operations, like they are not streamlining the operations. But majorly, if you see, means most of the places, not most of the, if our operations is best, then we will crack in our industry. So first, we want to be very absolute and accurate and be aware of every operation process. This is where we are starting. So goods has been dispatched from the supplier, and our purchase team has been commonly regularly communicating regarding goods. And once the goods arrived to our, which is bundle arrived to our receiving point, we want to compare invoices and received bundle status, which should be perfect. If any mismatch, we want to flag any mismatches immediately. We should not take time. Okay, it came today, we can speak tomorrow, or we can inform supplier day after tomorrow. Means there we make big mistake, because if we want to clear our mismatches or any damages, where at that time itself, which will make the communication smooth. Like I will say it's simple, but if this first step is missed, everything after this goes wrong. So We want to be accurate and perfect during the bundle arrival and cross checking between invoices and the received bundle quantities. If any mismatches, we want to be communicate to the supplier immediately. Move on to next slide. If bundle arrived and everything has been done and the inverted bundle has been recorded, and next step will be now, based on every discussions, we are give purchase data card PO, we have arrived the bundle. But why we arrived, that need to be unopened and that should be transferred to store immediately. Then only we will be able to sell that product because it's demand or everything. It's demand and this is the needed product as of now. So once bundle arrived, we should open the bundle within 1 day, which is 24 hours. That's our main priority. If delayed any reasons, we should track the reason for delay and we should be have the accountability. We should not mismatch because if one bundle missed today means it may be unnoticed for further days. So we have to be accountability for the unopened bundle within 24 hours of arrival. Then at the time of opening, in CNB we have template called datasheet, which used to match the quantities between invoices. It's not only matching the quantities, it also helps us to identify damages, shortages, and then we are with PO only we are receiving products. So if the product supplied from supplier in invoice it will be one based on our PO. But if you look at the bundle means the products will be something different from PO. So based on our demand, our calculation, our variety, relevance, optimum quality only, we found this product, this range only we want. And we gave that, we use that, we have prepared PO and we have given. But for example, we have give in indoor we have given 0 to 300 price range, we want these quantities, but instead from indoor they have given around 1000 to 200 means that will not sell and that's not our customer want, so there we loses. For that in datasheet we need to match every quantities, item damages or shortages, then PO matches, and then comes the major thing, attributes: perfect size, perfect color, perfect type, perfect pattern. For example, if you are looking for shirts now, we should be look for the patterns, checked up, printed, everything need to be maintained in data sheets. Is this where we catch errors before they hit the system? So accuracy here saves cost, time, and embarrassment. Next, after completing this, move on to next slide. We will be going to update in system, which is system entry and labeling. This is final preparation before sales store transfer. So once physical verification is done, we do grn entry. Everybody knows majorly grn entries makes the stock visibility and we have the financial tracking and we have the vendor reconciliation. So grn will be done after the datasheet. We have been finalized and we have been ignored whatever the issues or mismatches in datasheet step itself. The grn step should be in system entry step should be the entry person need to look at the datasheet and just want to enter in system. That's the major step for it. Then after the system entry is done based on the datasheet, if damage means they need to raise debit notes, everything will be handled by the grn team. Then labeling team will tag each and every labels in respective products. It's and this is also one of the major step because they want to perfectly correctly tag to correct item. They should not be mismatched. And then it transfers to sales place, which is our store for display. Next slide. So to summarize, with VROQ gives a data backend framework for planning what to buy. And then purchase card brings the planning into decision making. Then PO makes the purchase official. And then the invert process, which ensures quality, accuracy, system visibility, everything. So in retail, profit doesn't start at cash counter, it starts at planning. So when you align data, process, people, the result will be speed, accuracy, at better margins. This is what we try to tell you. Next slide. Yeah, if you are doing everything perfect, everything better, then we will be definitely win this battle. Thank you once again for being part of this session. We truly believe that when planning meets process, retail becomes predictable and profitable. We are happy to connect you beyond this session to explore how VROQ or purchase restructuring can help your business growth. And it's time to shoot out the questions. Next slide.